I think, what I love about when you look at the block from a psych point of view, a lot of people poo-poo and go, oh, it's a reality. Watch the block. Look for teamwork. Good couples and good contestants know how to create an award-winning team.
Hello and welcome back, hopefully, to Separate Bathrooms. We would like to acknowledge the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation, the traditional custodians of this land, and pay our respects to the elders, both past and present. Hey, Cam Dad.
Hey, Lady Elle of Glencoe.
Oh, thank you so much for
Yes.
using my correct title.
Absolutely. We all should kowtow to the Lady Elle.
Correct.
Yes. You
As
doing well
always.
today?
I'm good. I'm really good.
Are you ready for this?
I'm ready for this. Da-na-na-na-na-na-na-na, you know?
Today we're talking with a couple that came to prominence in a huge way back a few years ago by way of the block, Mitch Edwards and Mark McKie. We know them as Mitch and Mark.
Yep. Before the block, they were on another TV show, actually, which we did not know about, called the Aussie Property Flippers. You might have to Google that one, which they became very proficient at.
And prior to that, Mark worked as a psychologist and Mitch was in the business of doing business. We're going to find out more about these two ingenious fellas today. Please welcome to the bathroom, Mitch and Mark. Welcome to Separate Bathrooms, fellas. It's a relationship podcast. How did you two meet?
We met at a very upscale bar in the city the traditional way. Before people were meeting online, we stumbled into a bar and in Darlinghurst in the gay ghetto and stumbled
I don't know about stumbling in.
Oh, well, I stumbled.
You
out.
stumbled in.
Some almost 20 years ago. And funny enough, we were in that same classy establishment 2 nights ago.
Ah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yes.
Was it immediate attraction between the two of you?
Yeah.
It was yes, but it was a bizarre
I said it
meeting.
was.
Well, yeah,
to,
it was.
to you, remember
but
I told you. I said I've been looking forward to meeting you.
I should have, when you meet somebody
Really?
for the
That was your line?
Is that, no.
No, that was not
The
just
opening line?
Not just
No,
within
that
minutes.
wasn't. The opening line was, I thought he'd come over and say hello because you were waving at me. And I responded and said, well, you were pointing at me. I didn't know what else to do. And then he did, I've been waiting to meet you, which should have been the sign to say, run away. It's all scary.
But it was
Red flag.
It was
Red
kind of a
flag.
numbers game. It was a numbers game. I was running out of numbers.
It was like the gay ghetto law of attrition, you mean?
Well, yeah.
Using your words.
I've been on a heavy dating rampage, and
okay.
and Sydney. Well, I've been living overseas for quite a bit, and Sydney sort of seemed small, and I thought, shit, I'll run out of numbers soon. And I found Mark. I thought, thank
Now, were you,
freaking hell for that.
but you said you were you had a mission to go, I wanted a relationship. And
Yes.
you were dating on a 3-week cycle.
Yes.
And I was the error in the cycle. I was the error factor.
No, you were the correction,
Wasn't it?
because it was 3 weeks and then you're out.
Yes.
Because after 3 weeks in the gay dating world, after 3 weeks, people start to say things like, where is this going? I'm really falling for you. And you do a bit of a heart check. Nowhere. See ya.
So I was really, some of the friends that I met when I first met Mitch made me very aware of the 3-week rule.
Yeah.
And one of them, we always talk about it, it's hilarious. We're still good friends with her. The first time I ever heard her voice was on his phone with Mitch saying, I want you to meet this guy Mark I've met. And she just giggled and laughed, this beautiful laugh, and said, I'll wait for 3 weeks to see if he lasts. Ha, 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 ha. And it was like, I have to get by 3 weeks.
And you got to week number 4 and you knew you'd outlasted the rest of them. And here you are 20 years later.
Yeah, apparently if you make it past
Are
3
you
weeks.
guys actually married?
No.
No, just
we're not
together. Yeah.
Well, it's
Same,
kind of as
but
good as
different.
married.
Yeah. Yep.
I think it's an interesting issue in the same-sex marriage law, which is so important and was very important to us.
Yeah.
That it's almost, there can almost be an implication that now that you have that equality, you have to use it. But what we like is that the equality is so important because it gives us the same choice as...
Yes, absolutely.
So it's about choosing. And just because
Yep.
you choose to marry or not marry, is irrelevant. It's about how you care about each
We
other.
often have couples, the gay couples or LGBTQI plus couples that are married say, are you guys married? And we say no, and they're like, oh, right. It's like, it's sort of like, oh, so you're not really a couple. We were a couple long before marriage became equality.
Yeah.
We're still a couple now. But I think it's great for kids who are working themselves out when they're 11, 12, whatever age. They all of a sudden when there's law change, they don't have to feel, oh, well, I'm not going to be part of that. I'm not going to be able to dress up and celebrate my love for somebody. But
So
now they can.
The implication of, I think, that law change was bigger than just, for some people, just going, oh, wow, we can marry. It's a lot bigger than that. And it's a big social shift. And for us, it was like, this is important to enable choice and to enable, one of our kids, if they're in that situation, to feel equal to their siblings, our grandchildren, they need to be equal. But it's equal in both ways. Like my sister is with her partner, David. They've been together, for 30 years. They're not married. They have 2 boys. That's all good. So
Absolutely.
It's the equality.
We're kind
Absolutely.
of rebels, like, de facto relationship. Wow.
Yeah.
60-year-old
Yeah.
rebels.
When you were growing up, we were talking about this earlier. We interviewed the amazing Michael Kirby, and he talked about how he kept his relationship secret for, well over 20 years, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was sad.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah, and
He had some remorse about it.
had to hide that. Were both of you comfortable and open, and did you have the acceptance of family members on both sides?
Well, before we answer that, can I just say one of the best experiences I had was the gay games when Michael Kirby walked out as part of the opening of the gay games in Sydney in the year 2000. The whole stadium, thousands of people stood to cheer. So for someone like him, a trailblazer, both in the legal system for us and in society, and as a gay man, that was the most amazing thing. I was so pleased he could feel that people honoured that journey. Anyway,
Yeah.
separate
I'm
to that.
just Googling him.
Don't do that. He's amazing. But
Yeah, go ahead and Google him if you don't know, and it's not it's totally fine that you don't.
I'm a bad gay.
You should know because not me should know, but his story is worth hearing, and he really opened up with us on an earlier podcast.
Yeah.
So
that would be very worth listening
He's terrific.
to. But in terms of our
Lovely man.
upbringing, I guess from my journey, and Mitch can talk about his, I knew that I was different, and I knew that meant that I was gay probably from when I was 8 or 9. So I knew the difference very early.
Yeah.
But that wasn't a good time, like I was born in 1961. So, being 8 or 9 or 10 is the late 60s, early 70s, and still remembering some of just, great social movements back then. But that you had no role models around that, and being gay was not a good thing. So I guess, my process, I think a lot of people from that era, I mean, it was thoughts that you felt you could get rid of and that you would want to go. And I remember it, 11 and 12, kind of at night going, just God, whatever God was, not that we were a particularly religious family, but make it go away, make it different. But I was also teased as a kid at school for being the words that were used back then, gay, poof, all that sort of stuff. So, when some people talk about their school years and wanting to go back, I never want to go back to my school years. I have never been to a school reunion. I will never go to a school reunion. It was not the best time. And, dealing with those feelings, and it was also partly I dealt with some of that with my brother, he tended to be a bit of the macho guy. He was older than me. So there was, you'd look at it back now, there was bullying.
Sure.
Yeah, so that was, but a lot of people in that era have that journey, and still there are people who have that journey for lots of different reasons.
Yeah.
So
Mine was easy. No,
well, I don't know.
I just got married, had 3 kids, all gone, and don't need to worry about that whole gay thing.
Yeah.
And then one day I thought, hang on.
Easy.
They aren't evil thoughts. They're real. I'm a poof.
Wow. Wow.
So, mate, how was that transitioning out of that marriage, and how did your children deal with that?
So I'd convinced myself that I wasn't gay, that they were just evil thoughts. Good Catholic boy, evil thoughts happen to all boys. You just put them away. Then around 30, I thought, oh, hang on, these aren't such evil thoughts. These are actually real. So I had to deal with it myself. And then it came out with my ex-wife, and then we went to a therapist trying to fix me. And I do remember saying, I'm not broken. I'm just gay.
Good. Good.
And then eventually, we lived a fake couple life for a period of time, and then we called it quits. But it was, I think it's like any marriage ending, but it was with an added complexity. And the kids were they were dealing with a marriage breakup, but they're also dealing with dad's gay for. I don't know. They kind of. I remember my middle son saying, "But you're still going to be my best friend." And I said, "Yeah, we're still best friends." And we lived in the US, so my ex-wife and the kids took off back to Australia after we decided we couldn't make work, and I was stuck there for a period of time, zigzagging backwards and forwards, which was kind of interesting when you got a big distance between you and your kids, because if you put a measure in place where you've got to talk to them every day for half an hour, you realise you don't necessarily talk to the kids every day for half an hour when they're living with you. So we kind of transitioned, and now we've got 5 grandchildren. So,
I love that.
So it's
I love that. Yeah.
good, yeah. And with all the joys and crap that goes on with every family.
Yeah.
Are you a granddad too, Mark?
I'm a granddad by default, as in the kids.
Or a dad. Are you a dad?
Do I have
a father?
biological children? No.
Yeah.
No. And it was
okay.
probably not. I mean, I think kind of my journey was that's never going to happen. That was never going to be a possibility. And there was only one time when I turned 40. I remember when I turned 40, I thought, oh, okay, well, I never am going to be a dad. But it was never something really on my radar.
But we do talk about our kids, and the kids do treat Mark as dad with all the good stuff and all the bad stuff.
With the good and bad. But I think...
Not that there's a lot of bad, but there is bad. When we say our family is amazing and we all just have one big kumbaya life, that's
it's a norm.
BS. There's always ups and downs with kids and whatever.
Always. You guys have... It
makes it interesting.
Totally.
It's the same.
Totally.
I think I took a role... I had step-parents growing up. So I kind of used that a bit as a role model about the importance of a step-parent role, which is not to replace a parent, is to be an additional kind of support, but sometimes also an additional disciplinarian in a way. Sometimes I would watch things and go, I know what you're doing to your parents. You're manipulating them right now. And we don't do that here. But equally, I had to learn.
You're also a trained psychologist, though, aren't you? Yeah, that would help.
So that
our kids,
in some ways.
When Mark came into the family, for our kids, it was like, oh, great, we got a smart one finally. No, true.
No, there's a lot that you need to, and anyone listening, if they're in a step-parent relationship, it doesn't matter whether it's a same-sex relationship or not. The step-parenting role, it is a really important role if you're in it, but it's a difficult one to navigate. It's not an easy one to navigate. And it also made me think. There was a time I remember, Mitch, early on when, and it was a very small thing that occurred. Blake, who is our youngest now, but he's 32, was about 13 or 14, and Mitch had said, "Oh, you need some money to buy your mum a Mother's Day gift." Now, in my world, I'd never been around kids like that. So I was like, oh, why would you do that? But it was an instance of why would you do that? Oh, my God, I get it. But I didn't get it. And I remember saying to Mitch, I had to think I'm either all in or all out. And all in means that's what you do as a parent. You support and you do that kind of stuff, which I, as a gay man growing up through the 80s and 90s and thinking it wouldn't be family, that was never on my radar, how you did that.
you became, I guess, famous on the block, you two.
Can I just correct you there? Sorry, Cameron. I once got asked when we finished the block, how does it feel to be famous now? And in my mind, I've been famous my whole frigging life. So, so to say it happened from the block, it happened way before the block.
Okay. See, Mitch, I have a theory too that we are all in our own individual movies. Yes. We are the lead role in our individual movie, and we're all bloody famous in our own minds. It's just, why doesn't everybody get on board? Why don't you know?
I'm the opposite.
That is the problem.
Mitch's problem is he's now Mitch and Mark. And he needs
it goes together like a horse and carriage, doesn't it?
It's like Sonny and Cher.
That's right.
Well, let's just say this. We caught up with your fame, Mitch.
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
And Mark, as a team on the block. You had a TV show before that about flipping houses.
Did you know about that one? You must have been one
Elle
of the...
told me last night when we were researching.
We did some research.
You'd have to dig deep to find that one.
Google's a lovely thing, isn't it?
Alison is the queen of research. And
sometimes.
She's brilliant at it. So was that the industry? I mean, as Al said, Mark, you are a psychologist. When did you guys get into housing, and was that something that you bonded over on that first night when you met in that club in Darlinghurst, or how did that take us through that? How did that sort of all come into bloom and blossom? Yeah,
bonding on the first night's a bit much.
The first night.
I don't know.
Talking about pink sheets or white sheets.
Ali and I had a good story on the first night.
No.
We played house on the first night, but it wasn't building houses.
Maybe pitching tents.
Awkward moment. Oh, stop it, scallywag!
Sorry, I'm going with you. I'm going with you,
scallywag. No, look,
it's a rabbit hole you don't want to go down.
Okay.
God,
let's keep it on the above board.
I think when we met, we were. I just not long before I met Mark, I had bought a studio apartment in Potts Point with what money I had left after our settlement. After my settlement with my ex-wife, and Mark had a good income, but hardly any capital, and after we were together a short time, he was renting a fabulous apartment on the harbour front in Elizabeth Bay, and
because I'd moved up from Melbourne.
Yeah,
I'm from Adelaide, and I'd been in Melbourne for a while. I moved to Sydney,
so I assumed that I'd found someone that, wow, he owns a harbourfront apartment. And when I was going through his paperwork and found the rental statement.
Going through his paperwork?
I had to make sure,
Okay.
I only found out about this.
So I just had to make sure it was the right investment.
He went through all my paperwork.
The rental statement was
very relaxed.
It's basically like Google stalking and going on someone's Instagram. You go through someone's papers back then. That's what you did.
Yeah,
there you go.
Would you do that, Ali? Did you do that?
No, I did not do that. I might have. What
there was a journal.
Yeah, but that was left open for me to read, I tell you. That was
she said,
my first mistake.
Hang on. We're talking about these guys.
Ali goes, whoops.
Was it a journal or an instruction book? So I discovered that Mark had potential to save some money, and I had a chat with him and said, how quickly can you save whatever the amount was? Because we need to buy property because we both are too far behind for both being over 40. And I said the only way we can get ahead at this point in time, even though we had good incomes, it's going to take more than good incomes to catch up. So we scraped into our first property in Rushcutters Bay, renovated that and sold it. And I said, let's do it again.
Right.
And then it just started happening.
Yeah.
We just started doing one after another to the stage
and
where...
we
enjoyed it. We enjoyed it.
We
We developed a work ethic, I think. We were working in relatively big corporate jobs, and then every other spare moment was towards renovating. So our weekends dried up pretty quick in the relationship. It became about work.
So we were living the block, basically.
Well, yeah, we did live in blocks for years. And we did, I think in total we've done about 20 properties, but at one stage it was 5 in a year.
We did 5 apartments, but we thought, we did sit down and say, okay, here's our plan. We'll do a 5-year plan. which is to do 2 or 3 properties. I can't remember the number, but we said we'd do it over 5 years and see what we could do.
Yeah.
And it kind of became a bit of an obsession. But I think we also, Mitch has got a marketing background and I've got a psych background, but also operations in businesses. So we kind of worked a model, and we were clever enough to go, we need a good model to be able to be efficient about this and to work out, what do you spend, how quickly you do it, who do you get it back onto the market with, what do you want to pay at the beginning. It's a steep learning curve. We learnt a lot very quickly and made a lot of mistakes.
Aesthetically, do you both have the same, do you argue about colours or splashbacks, or are you pretty much on the same board with when it comes to design?
Well, we don't, on the arguing thing, we don't argue, which is kind of a weird thing from what we understand. But
you
can get a bit annoyed, but we don't.
We'll have discussions.
Yeah, great.
We've never really we've never had an argument where we've ever been mean to each other.
Yeah.
I think we both, Mitchie, on that, we both had.
I'm generally right. So
Exactly. I just go, you're right. No, we both decided, and with the blog too, a few people. I remember somebody, an ex-contestant in one of the seasons we did a whole, if you don't argue, you're not being real. It's like, well, no, you can have a difference of opinion, but we will not be abusive to each other. And if ever I was that person and said that, threw or hurled, then I don't want to be that person. That's not who I want to be. And if somebody were to do that back to me, well, that's not okay. Happy to be a difference of opinion, but we're not going to abuse each other. And you can't justify that as arguing.
So back to the aesthetic. The aesthetic arguing about aesthetics.
Yeah.
Well, we didn't argue about aesthetics, but Mark was probably more, he was probably leaning down the path of more minimalist, a little bit Scandi, and I was probably a little bit more Hollywood razzmatazz. So
he was bling all the way.
We kind of met him.
Siegfried and Roy? It's got a real bling?
Oh, no, real bling.
I'm not talking about real gold and
Sometimes I
chintz.
see myself.
Liberace?
Sometimes I see myself
You've
on the
seen
way out
his
the door,
wardrobe.
and I think, "Oh my God, I'm like one of those guys." Liberace is one of those. Pare it back.
But before I met Mitch, a chandelier would never be in a house that I would be in. I would never have a chandelier. Currently, we have about 6 in the garage.
But a well-placed one is gorgeous, right?
I now know that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So we met in the middle, but on my side of the fence. And with the chandelier, Mark actually, I remember looking at a chandelier in Freedom Furniture, and Mark said, "There's no way I'm paying $500 for a chandelier." And after we did 2 chandeliers at about $3,500 each,
The first
he probably
renovation.
wished he bought the $500.
And Mitch found if anyone needs, there's a fabulous chandelier place in Edgecliff. It's brilliant.
Chandeliers to die for.
They're really good.
And it's not an ad. We just think they do good stuff.
They actually made these chandeliers for us. So Mitch was away interstate, and I rang him when I got the bill. And I said, yeah, they look fabulous. They've been hung. They look brilliant. And I said, I've just got the bill. And I should have gone with the $500 one because it was like, are you kidding me? These are light fittings.
They were a bargain.
Yeah.
Are you guys handy? Do you get on the tools, or are you just good at choosing stuff?
Tools. Mark has become very handy, but he has a crack, and he's not bad at.
We all have a crack.
True.
This is just doubling.
My husband's just going down this road.
Mitch started talking. I asked him legitimately about tools, and he immediately took it to the tool shed. And I saw your face, mate. You did.
How do you even know the tool shed?
Because
Good question.
Well,
Yes.
what are you talking about?
Let's talk
I'm
about
a man
it.
in Sydney, and
It's tricky.
I know that's one of those places. I'm also a musical theatre too, so
Oh, yeah. Hello.
fellas used to go down
That's
there.
true. You've been to a lot of places with your mates that are.
Ah,
Yeah, I
now-
don't have to participate, but I just kind of, it's pretty
Right, so
fun.
Cameron, now we have a question for you now then.
Okay, go.
No.
After 2 seasons of the block,
Yeah.
I can do all the crappy grunt work, but I still can't hammer a nail.
He's not so good at that.
So it's amazing. We
Yeah.
did very well on the block, but I did all the shitty jobs, like painting. I'm a good painter.
Yeah,
I'm a really
yeah.
good painter now, whether I like it or not.
Yeah. But it was, fascinating about that was in the last season, there was some carry-on or some contestants going, we're not tradies, it's not fair. And they actually went back through and said, you don't need to be a tradie to win the block. And they showed the people who had, us, the girls, Alyssa and Lysandra, there's a whole lot of people who won the block without being tradies because it's about project management.
Right.
Sure.
About getting the job done and getting in and doing stuff. You have to get your hands dirty, but you don't have to be a tradie to labour.
I think sometimes with people on the likes of the block, when you see contestants every year, getting in and learning how to use the drop saw or whatever those things, those tools have got names called. But you see people doing that, and they're like, "Oh, well, look at me." Our view was the trade guys. If we want to do well on this and be able to get by without blowing our budget, we need to do all the crap jobs that we can do efficiently, and let the trades do the jobs they're paid for, and not try and be a hero for camera time and learn how to use a drop saw or learn how to become a tile or whatever. Use the trades to do their job that they're professional at, and respect that they're professionals, and do the crap stuff to have everything ready for them.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
Was the block part of a grand plan, or did you guys look at the block and say, that's a show we can win?
Neither of those.
No.
The block was never, ever on our radar, ever.
Neither was the other property flipper show. That was just something that a friend came to us and said, "Oh, look, I want to do a show about property flippers. Will you do it?" And we thought, "Oh, whatever."
So my background, like I said, is psych, but I worked for a long time in personal injury, running, managing, consulting businesses, working in financial services, working in things that were, pretty intense and conflict-ridden and all that sort of stuff. Being on a TV show, I was not made for that. I was not designed for that. And we got asked and we did the property flipper thing. And then, Mitch, you said to me you said, well, we should just say yes to a whole lot of opportunities that come along. And the block, we would watch it maybe on a Sunday night. Like, the block's been very good to us. We would watch it Sunday night reveals, working, doing stuff. And on the last night of applications, Mitch walked out and said, I'm applying, let's apply for this. And it was like 8 o'clock, 9:30.
No, but it was like, I just want to put an application. I said to Mark, I want to put an application in. I didn't want to do the block. I just want to do an application.
And I said to him, knock yourself out. Literally, I was sitting across the table. I was working on plans for our Bondi renovation. He was going into state. We had to be at work the next day. And I said to him, knock yourself out because I'm not helping you.
And there had been a lot of drinking.
There had been a lot of beers.
Which the drinking made me want to do a block entry.
Yeah, right.
And then do a video to go with it. There's like, hi, you should pick us for the block. We're amazing.
I know, if you saw the video, to those people listening, if you've ever applied to the block and you do amazing edited videos, you don't want to see ours because it's just...
it was so bad. I don't know what... Well, they...
So it wasn't part of a grand plan, and it wasn't something we expected. It was a complete shock to be invited to do it. Was an absolute shock.
They emailed us to come in for an interview, and I got 2 emails and didn't respond to the emails until I got a phone because it wasn't part of it. We weren't planning to do it. I just wanted to do the application, and then we went. We went into the interview, and then still just thought that was another fun thing to do, and
here we are.
Didn't expect to get it. We were planning to move to the US for a gig.
Yeah, it was. And I think a lot of people, we've had people say to us, the block, it's rubbish. And it's been in the media lately, it's so bad. It's a gift. It's been a gift to us. If you go in and have that experience, the gift is not just, we've got some fame out of it. We've got amazing friends out of that show. We learnt a lot from that show. They're very professional. The way that they film, everything they do, their crew is incredible to work with. We had a great time. We're very lucky. It's a gift.
But we also enjoy. We also realise that we enjoy working in front of a camera. Being part of producing something with cameras involved, and as you guys would know, when we see people who are getting a little bit ahead of themselves because they're in front of a camera, we kind of get taken aback by it because having done a few seasons of the block, we realise that there's this thing, the roles got different names. Like the people in front of the camera are called the talent. The man holding the sound stuff, it's called the sound guy. and then there's the camera person. So that and the producer, and then there's the runners. We realise that everybody is equally important, and the person in front of the camera is just another one of the people who are making a film,
Something hopefully entertaining.
creating a product.
Yeah.
But we enjoy that role, and we know the responsibility in that role that you have an equal part to everyone else to get it right.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
It's a good thing to learn.
I don't know if it was because of your marketing, Mitch, or just the two of you coming up with it all. What I love what you've done is how you've branched off into Mitch and Mark Homewares. Mitch, you've got your own store in Newport now. It's Newport, right, that you've opened up? Yeah. And Mitch and Mark Couture. Tell us about the Homewares store first. Whose idea was that, and how long has it been open, and do you love doing that? Because I can't wait to come and see it. I was looking online. I was like, this is gorgeous.
So before we finished the second block, in between filming and the auction, I said just before we went to the auction, actually, I said, why don't we do a shop? Because we had an online store, because we'd developed a candle range and home fragrance range. Why don't we do a shop? And Mark said, why don't we not do a shop? And then I said, it'll just be a pop-up. It'll be a bit in a little tiny shop in Newport. It'll be a lot of fun just to do it for a brief period over a Christmas period. Then we got more serious about, got a bigger space, and then I started designing our throws and our towels, because I found that if you design your own products, you can actually bring the price to the consumer right down.
Oh, okay.
Because anyone who manufactures tends to wholesale, and we left corporate to have a better life, so we didn't want to start.
We left to have a better life, so we work 7 days a week.
Screwed up. But we thought, let's not go into wholesale, because let's keep it fun. Once you become a wholesaler, then it's a whole nother business model, and we want to enjoy it. So we started creating things, and then fashion. I've designed our fashion for a long time, what we wear.
Yeah.
And then I thought it'd be fun to play with it. Why not start up a fashion label just before you turn 60?
I love it.
Yeah.
But
I
think it's
absolutely
fun.
love it.
You know, the colour, and we looked at, when Mitch said, why don't we do a shop? And I was like, are you out of your mind? It's 24/7. And, we then went into the auction on the block, which we didn't expect the outcome. That was completely blindsided us in a good way. But within 3 or 4 weeks of that, we were opening a shop and working through Christmas. And there was so much we didn't know about what was involved in it. But I guess we've been experienced enough to, and the block also helped us realise you can do anything. So if things are tough, sometimes in life things can be a bit tough. Mitch and I will often stop and go, you know what, hang on a second, we did the block. If you can do that, if you can get your mind focused and just, break things down and achieve your goals like that, then you can do anything. So it's fun, and we position it now. It's colourful. We're on the northern beaches, and we're different to some of the other homeware stores, because we don't just do white and beige and stuff, which is beautiful.
Yeah.
But we do colour, but more than that. And somebody said to us, our customers, there's one woman who said, you guys don't just do colour. And I said, what do you mean? She said, you do confidence. You let people come in and feel confident
Give them
to play with colour and pattern.
play hard.
Yeah.
But can I just go back to the block shift for 1 second? The part where Mark said you can do anything. Elle, next time you are trying to open that jar and you can't open it, and you pass it to Cameron to say, can you open the jar for me?
Yeah.
When I'm opening that jar, that takes me back to the block, and I do think now, oh shit, actually I can do that.
Yeah.
There's a way. I'll work it out.
Yeah.
I love that.
Because it's a little bit of money. You can do anything. We can all open that. We can all open that jar.
Is that across the board you found with most of your contestant friends that you're still probably friends with? Does everyone have that same feeling from the block that's like, I did that, I can now do anything? Or is that just what you two took from it?
I don't know.
It's a good question, because I don't think we've ever asked them that.
I think our first season, every couple did all the grunt work. Probably not the ones that won so much, but every couple did all the grunt work. So I think a lot of them would have that view. But I think it's probably unusual for a block couple that both partners in the couple do all the dog work.
Yeah.
And I think if you do all the dog work, you realise you can do anything.
It's up to, like Jesse and Kirsty did.
Kirsty and Jessie did. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kirsty and Jessie did. And
Georgia. Ronnie would never let Georgia do it.
Georgia doesn't.
Georgia would. No,
Georgia doesn't do that.
Georgia loved getting to paint because Ronnie never let her do it.
Yeah.
She said, "Great, I can paint." Yeah.
But it must have been by the way you two are together, which is so beautiful.
Stop
It
it.
must have helped having such good partnership for the two of you. I'm sure that's why you won the last one, though. That you must have been able to buoy each other up a lot of the time. I can imagine.
We tend to in those situations to look for each other's suffering. So if you see that one of you is just struggling,
Yeah.
and generally mentally, we would then automatically tag teaming, reaching out to each other and saying, "Hey, you know what? Forget about what you're doing. Just get in there and remove the rubble. That's going to take you the next 4 hours to remove that rubble and get into a skip bin." So we would give each other a mind-numbing job just to take, which kind of takes your stress away.
And you need to be able to put your ego aside. So in other situations, some people go, "Hey, you can't tell me what to do." At that point, it's like, actually, I need you to tell me what to do. And you're not criticising me. You're just saying, I need that done. So I think, what I love about when you look at the block from a psych point of view, a lot of people poo-poo and go, "Oh, it's a reality." Watch the block. Look for teamwork. Good couples and good contestants know how to create an award-winning team. How do they do that? You look at the relationship between them. There's a huge amount you can learn from that. So from a psych perspective, I actually think watch it and see what you would and wouldn't do, because it's more than just building.
And you see the teams form where there's a team, and they put people in charge of projects. Like for us, our builder was in charge of the build. We were in charge of tying everything together. We're in charge of the styling. You're in charge of the planning. And then the real estate's part of the team. So it's a real estate show which you're building towards.
Yeah.
And I think couples, the mistake people often make is that they're building rooms to win, to please the judges and win on that room, which doesn't always add up to a good house. You need to be building a house to sell, and then if the judges are not on board with you, you need to work out how you can finish building the house without winning money. And that's what we did last time. We decided we weren't going to win rooms because we weren't going to build a house targeting room wins. We were going to build a house targeting a cohesive, beautiful home.
And it made sense for the market. Like, we're about property.
Yeah.
We're about property and real estate. And the design, the interior finishes is one element only. But you have to understand your market. You have to understand why you're buying it, what you want to do with it, the layout. The best thing for us in Hampton was we all got to do our own layout. If you really look at the houses, all of those houses and their layouts, you'll see things that work and things that don't work. And it's about property. That's what we've always said. And we love property.
Are you still flipping houses now?
No, we're flipping getting by now. We bought this house in Newport, which is the most amazing location with incredible views, and it's quite a big place, but it's broken.
We are talking Newport, New South Wales, just north of Sydney's northern beaches.
Yes. Newport, we're overlooking the ocean up here in the northern beaches. So it's a beautiful spot, but the place is not only in need of beautification, it's in need of fixing leaks in roofs and all sorts of things. There's a lot of work to do. So the plan was to buy this place, renovate it, and either keep it as a beach house or flip it. We moved in for 2 weeks after we settled, just to get a feel for it, and then decided to live here because we were never leaving the city.
And then we had, like a lot of people, COVID hit.
Yeah.
Then, and in amongst that, supply chain issues happening, renovation.
Yeah.
We've written different articles. Some people may have seen it in local papers, where sometimes what's the best time to renovate? And when to do that, you've got supply chain issues. You've got trade. It costs you a lot more. So we then set ourselves a goal of March 2021. We would be renovating this house. People are probably sick of hearing us talk about renovating, and we got a phone call. And that was the phone call to say, would you come back on the block? And we were like, we'll come back and do a couple of days like you asked us before. And they said no to do the whole thing. So we did renovate a house in 2021. It was just not this one.
It wasn't yours, yeah.
It wasn't ours. So we're starting to do the work here.
Okay.
We're starting with the garden right now. We've got people doing stuff there, and then we'll start to work on the inside.
Would you consider doing a consultancy business? Because, I was going to make a joke about it before, but I'm actually quite serious about it because Elle and I are looking to buy land. We're looking to do that's in our future. So, would you do that?
We do a bit of consultancy now.
Yeah.
We tend to. We were doing consultancy, doing full jobs.
Yeah, I think. Mitchie, we do have some people who come in and we go into their places and we provide them with some feedback, either in terms of the renovation plan that they've got already.
Yeah.
So we've seen a couple where the drawings look great, but we've actually said logistically that's not going to work. This is how much space you need, or things like those bifold doors look great on paper, but they're not going to work for your space. But we love helping people with property. We love helping people.
I'd love to get your two input on
me too.
on a place that we were looking at.
We have had people looking at property before they get to the renovation stage, come to us and say, "This is the home I'm looking at," and basically we work through with people what do they need, what do they not want, and then what's the intent of the home? Is the home a long-term home, or is it a flip job, or is it a 5-year gap filler? Which every aspect. And then if you do want to sell in 5 years, what are the apologies you'll have to make in 5 years' time that you just can't fix? You can't fix it. You can't fix a busy road. You can band aid it with a fence, but you can't get rid of the busy road. You can't change an ugly aspect. Or we made a mistake with our Bondi place. It was on the side of a hill below street level in an apartment block, and that was probably our 18th property or something. And by then, we thought we had it all sorted, but the apology for below street level was greater than we thought. We didn't overcome it.
So looking at property, yes, we do that with people. And I think, as Mitch said, property flipping, there's a whole model behind it. And I think we love it. We love property. We walk in. He looked through the properties all the time. He would just go to auctions. He went to an auction one time and bought a property without telling me.
But I didn't mean to. It was by accident.
He was swatting a fly?
They were bidding, and I thought, this is way too low. This place is worth more. And they said, do we have any other bidders? And I thought, yes.
He rang me and said, I just bought this apartment in Potts Point.
No, you called me and said, where are you? and how did that auction go? You went to have a look. And I said, it went really good or really bad. I accidentally bought it.
Yeah.
And I think I'm in trouble this time.
You know what we found fascinating is we've done a lot of flipping. We've done a lot of auctions. We've done a lot of negotiations with real estate people. Most people don't do that many. And it's their biggest purchase. And it's intimidating when you're dealing with a conveyancer and a real estate person, and the games that go on in terms of the negotiations. So, we've had a lot of experience with that. We've sat in auctions and watched how the room works, and we've seen auctioneers control the auction, and we've had auctions where we've controlled the auction. So that sort of stuff, sharing that with people, would be good.
Guys, we do a thing called the 2-minute shower, which is we're conserving water, keep our answers short.
I can't do 2 minutes.
So let's play. You each have to answer the question. First question, what's your best quality?
Can I answer for him or for me?
You answer for you.
Answer for yourself.
Yeah.
I think I'm compassionate. I think I'm hard-nosed. I'm tough, but I'm compassionate. What is yours? Why are you hesitating?
It's just like a question like that is so tough. Like, how do you pick one?
Yeah, I know. It's really hard because I know you have multiple, but the one that slightly stands out.
I think good quality is about genuine interest in people.
Oh, that's a good quality. Yeah.
I ask people lots of questions, only because I'm interested, not because I'm nosy. I love knowing where do you live and why do you live there, and when you say you're a chartered accountant. Exactly what do you do in your job? What's your actual job? What does it mean?
Yeah.
I love understanding those bits.
Awesome. Who do you admire?
I'll go first.
Yeah.
I admire Mark because Mark is so
No, I can't use it.
level-headed and so prepared to work so hard and worries about me working too hard and always compliments me on working hard and allows me to be me and encourages me to be me and is my insanely biggest supporter. I find it overwhelming how good he is to me, and he's good to everyone.
That's beautiful.
Oh, except when the kids
I'm
have got in
not
trouble.
really that nice. That's just a nice part coming through.
Some of the kids have had moments with me.
Yeah, no, you're good to everyone.
Very nice.
Who do you admire?
Well, I have to say you never.
Oh,
'cause
you
it's
don't
like-
just say me. No, go for someone else.
That's a hard way. You talked about Michael Kirby early on. I mean, there's a whole lot of bunch of people,
Still
but I do
still
admire
got to
people
Google
like
him.
that.
Yeah.
Because I think their intelligence, to go pursue the path he did and to achieve at such a high level in his career, in an environment and a social time when who he was, being who you were, is
Yes.
legal. And, you just want to be loved. You just want to love somebody and be loved. And to hide that. I admire that. That's
Yeah.
courage. That's real courage.
And can I just add to that? Sorry, we're short part of the 2 minutes. I think in that situation, there's a lot of people with a very big profiles that will hide evidence about themselves or truth about themselves, and whether it's gay or whatever. That I think that they feel that it does them better politically or financially to be closeted in no matter what it is, and I think that that's insanely selfish. I think if you're selfishly giving up an opportunity to help others, particularly if you can influence the gay debate.
And you never know.
There's a few radio announcers that I just think,
Yeah.
how dare
You never know. We had a woman come in with her daughter 2 days ago, and her daughter was very excited to meet us. You went there. I was there. She's very excited, and we had a photo, and she was lovely, so nice. And the woman emailed me that afternoon and said, "Thank you so much." She was so excited. She said, and when she left, she said, "Oh, isn't it really nice to, we've met Mark and Mitch and Mark, and they're nice because they're just like my brother." And she said her son, 13, had come out as gay. And she said, "You guys, no, we don't do that, but we didn't realise we're part of the normality of that."
Yes.
And how amazing that
It
a
is
kid
amazing.
at 13, and there's still challenges for them,
Yeah.
can have that conversation openly.
You go 2 minutes.
Absolutely.
That one.
Absolutely. I mean, we've talked about this openly before. Our son is gay, and when he was about 14, and we have gay friends, we've always talked about whoever you love is who you love, and when you bring, and we would say to our daughters, if you might marry a woman, you might, and same with our son, you might marry a man. We've said that since they were little. But still, even when he was 14, he apologized for being gay, and it just shook me because it's like it's not the way he was raised, but there's still that society, there's still that that whispers in the dark of like, don't be too gay, or all of that slur that you become as a mum. I became so hyper aware of. And I know, and we've talked to him a lot about it. So, do you still find that it's challenging? Is it difficult? And he said, no. He said, he's never had a homophobic slur slung at him, which I think is amazing that he's 22, and but he's got a thick skin as a sensitive soul as he is. But he just says, I wouldn't care about it anyway. I wouldn't care about it. It's still there, but it's
still there.
We've come a long way. There's still more to go.
Oh, it's so much better.
So much
So
better.
much better.
So much
They
better.
don't stone you to death anymore.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, we're living in a much better time than
We need to remember
clearly
they
that
still
period.
In
Yeah.
countries, there are still countries that
Absolutely.
we would travel to, and
Yeah.
we are criminals.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
right.
it's,
That's right.
Russia.
Yeah.
I would never
Insane.
go to Russia.
All right, we're using up a lot of water in the shower right now, so I'm going to keep things simple.
Turn the tap a bit lower.
Here we go.
What does your perfect day look like?
Our perfect days, to me, look like generally, because we've been working since we finished the last block, and before we've been doing 7 days a week. Apart from having a trip, 2 months in Europe, and then we had a few weeks in Bali. So my perfect day looks like being on holidays in Mykonos.
Mm-hmm. Down the beach.
Yeah.
Nice.
At a private beach for the two of us, or even at a beach club with a whole lot of friends and dancing on tables, either one.
That works. And
You?
same for you, Mark?
I'm the same. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're the same. Beach.
Nice.
All right. Last question. Your partner in one word.
Everything.
Inspiring.
Oh,
Well, you guys are everything and inspiring.
you really are.
Just loved it.
Yes.
I wrote 3 words down: curious, kind, and encouraging. And just want to say thank you so much for your time and what you shared with us today. It was fantastic.
Thank you. We had fun.
Thank you for having us.
Gosh, what did you say? Curious, kind, and encouraging.
Yeah.
That's so true.
Yeah.
What a creative couple as well. I mean, where they've taken their lives and, as I said, keep branching off into different businesses and industries. And I love that idea of just going, why don't we try this? And then they try it. And they're so willing to jump in. And
It's amazing. And that they have that theory of yes. Let's just say yes.
I know.
And do it. Anyway, but they're inspiring in terms of that. So it's just like listen to each other, pay attention,
Yeah.
and enjoy the hell out of what you're doing right now.
And they're so loving with each other, the kindness between them.
Yeah.
We'll put links to their homeware store and their couture as well in the show notes, and go do a little visit down to Newport if you're in the Sydney Northern Beaches area. and
Or
check
up
out
to
their
Newport
store.
or across to Newport.
Okay.
Newport, New South Wales. I think there's Newport in Victoria. There's someone in Adelaide too. I think there's a Newport.
And America.
Correct.
All right. Thanks so much for listening.
We'll see you next time on Separate Bathrooms.